Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Global Industry Spotlight. My name is Daniel Crane, and I am the Program Director for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. Every week, we are streaming live from 2112 in Chicago, Illinois, and connecting with you, networking, and discussing art, business, and all things creative entrepreneurship. It's been a really exciting journey this past year in 2021, and we've already started off with a bang in 2022. Last week, we talked to Turo Pekkari from Finland, who's building a lot of really interesting things with the Music Finland department. Also, is involved with Metaverse and has a lot of interesting ideas of kind of innovation and the future of the music industry in Europe. So you can check that out on YouTube, LinkedIn. We also have it on Spotify, so it's pretty awesome. But today's guest, I'm excited. I connected with Rob probably 10 years ago when he was working with music dealers. He's kind of part of the ecosystem and some of the people I came up with, so it's fun to have him on here. He is the co-founder of Songfinch, a songwriters platform and a unique music gift shop that offers personalized songs for life's special moments. Thanks to Songfinch, you can bring your favorite stories, feelings, and memories to life with a personalized song. Songfinch works with hundreds of talented artists to be able to make the perfect match for each song. The platform also offers customized keepsakes that make your song become a part of your everyday life, such as slideshows, lyric prints, your song on a 7-inch vinyl, sheet music, and etc. Let's bring Rob in and kind of learn about him building a business, more about Songfinch and the process of that. So let's bring him in. Hey, Rob, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
For sure.
I
Thanks.
think I'm always excited and interested to hear from people who have kind of built a business from ground up. Here's an idea, and then we actually put it together, created the technology, built out a team, have an office space, etc. So it's going to be fun to kind of learn about that journey. And before we do, can you just kind of tell everyone a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and we'll kind of go from there.
For sure. Yeah. So I started in the music space probably right after high school. I was dabbling in making music, realized I'm not really good at it, so stepped out of it, stepped to the business side. I started interning here in Chicago at a management company where we had a couple artists that we managed. And from there, we realized a lot of our income was coming from touring or licensing. So kind of helped spin off an idea of music dealers. So we had a lot of ad agency relationships and a lot of artist relationships. So we kind of just put them together. We launched Music Dealers in 2008. I was a third employee there, kind of heading the artist side of that. And I was there for 8 years. 2016, we did some really cool stuff in the licensing space for brands, TV shows, video games, anything you can think of that needs music. And then I was approached in 2016 by my two co-founders now, which worked at Music Dealers as well, to start Songfinch. So I love the idea. I saw the power of music firsthand at Music Dealers, heading a lot of the custom music initiatives there. So it's basically bringing the one to millions of what brands did for one song to the one-on-one. So launched Songfinch in 2016 and kind of been at it ever since.
And can you take us through the launch? So you have two other co-founders who came to you and said, "Here's the idea." What are kind of the steps? Take us through a little bit of the beginning of Songfinch and the things that you as a company needed to decide and figure out to start the business.
Yeah, it was fun, and getting a couple people in the same room to agree on easy things like colors and
Right.
a logo and site and flows, and past just like the aesthetic stuff. Like, do people want this? Like, do people want to pay $199 for a gift that is not physical? Like, we were a little bit early. Artists didn't have as much access to equipment to make songs real quickly and cheaply, and some artists still had to go to studios and pay more than we pay for a song for studio time. So figuring out what we can get quality wise, what we can expect, what the price point is for someone to buy something that's not made yet. It took us probably 2 years to figure out a lot of that. We did a lot of testing, a lot of variations of the product. And then on the other side, people's attention spans were shrinking. Social media was becoming a lot bigger. So like, how are you going to get people involved and interested in a product that you can't see while they're scrolling within like 2, 3, 4 seconds? So like, there was a lot of challenges to try to figure out. We were a little early, but setting it up, it was just a lot of trial and error, a lot of going with your gut and adjusting when needed to. And there's really no playbook, since we were kind of carving out a new space and a new product within the gifting market. And in turn, the music market, like no one ever seen this in the music industry either. Like, wait, I don't have to wait tables. Like, no, you can make music instead of waiting tables or driving Uber. And in the meantime, you can reuse anything you make in your own stuff. So it's basically like being paid to build your fan base one by one, super, super strong connections, and then practicing, getting better at recording, mixing, writing, everything from the artist point of view.
So when would you say, from kind of the beginning of the company, did you when was the actual official launch? So you have the ideation, you kind of have the market research, you have the trial and error. When do you feel like you caught like a really great stride in terms of the company, of like, okay, this is like, we've kind of found this niche, this is working, we're going to take it from here?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, we launched late in 16 with a lot of that, with a Google form, trying to figure out. And I didn't feel like we really caught on and really got things moving until early 2020. So it was a grind, and there was a lot of ups and downs and gut punches. And we had partnerships with Hallmark that fell through. We had partnerships with Coke that fell through. We filmed on Shark Tank, and they didn't like that our product was so manual and that you couldn't just kind of put in a factory and make more if you needed. So there was a lot of things that was just like, continue to just push through and push through and push through. And then 2020 came, and a couple of weeks, I was running the company solo by myself at that point. My two co-founders had different companies they were running at the time. So I was keeping things moving, still trying to figure it out. And then 2020 came, and the 3 weeks before Valentine's Day, we outdid sales-wise the entire 2019. So like, that was where the light bulbs are like, okay, we have something. And then like right then COVID hit and the quarantine lockdown hit. And it was like, all right, it's me. Hired one more person, and then it was me and him. And I think we just hired our like 38th person, all during lockdown. So
wow,
yeah,
that's amazing. So since the pandemic, it's really grown.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I always get asked, what do you think helped that growth? To me, it's timing. I mean, artists were losing their gigs and they couldn't perform, and their co-writing sessions got canceled, and they didn't have an income. Even if they're waiters or Ubers, like that kind of halted. So it was kind of a bright light in that community, in the independent artist community, to be able to make money. On the consumer side, maybe you aren't seeing your mom or your grandparents and you want a new way to like connect, or if I'm not calling you, I'm not there with you, listen to the song, and it'll kind of bring back some memories and to like when life was, quote, normal. So everything kind of fell into place. I think Cameo did a really good job of paving the space of like a digital gift. And that's just becoming more normal with the NFT space, with a lot of this stuff where you don't have to have something wrapped and physically give it to you to mean something and to be a gift. So we were a little bit early. And I think we learned so much within that time that helped put us to where we are today.
Yeah, that's a great point, and interesting, the idea of timing. It's like, you put in this heavy grind, you said, hey, we had something worked out with Hallmark, with Coke, major companies, they fell through, and then you have a great early 2020 and the pandemic hits, and now every artist in the world is trying to find alternate revenue streams.
Right.
And companies are reacting to that by building new technologies for fandom and how to engage fans, where you guys have already done the legwork and the timing has hit at the right moment. And that's one of those things that I feel like you just have to be prepared, right? It's like you guys were ready. You weren't reactive to the pandemic, you were already established,
right?
Which is incredible, and congrats to you that you've been able to grow. That's fantastic. In terms of the artist side, So how does an artist get involved with Songfinch? How do you choose the artists? How does that process work?
Yeah, so we have an A&R team that is constantly looking for artists that kind of fit what we want. Um, there are some great artists that we can't work with because we don't really offer their genres at this point. And then we have artists that come to us and apply. So the thing about Songfinch is all of our quality control happens up front because we have 7-day delivery windows, and we can't really like just try again if you don't fit with your first op. So we have an application process where we accept 57% of the artists that come to us right now. And then there's just an onboarding where you do like a sample song of a verse and a chorus. And we determine at that point, it gives us a sense of quality, gives us a sense of writing, how you structure songs, and other things that our music supervision team looks at. So that's how we keep our music or our artist roster the best it can be. And we can pass artists that have maybe 0 ops or 1 op completed. We can pass them an op and are confident to know what we're going to get back because of the process they go through.
And are you relying on the artists to already have recording equipment and be able to, record everything themselves?
Yeah. So okay. Just record, play a song, do like an easy mix where it just sounds fine on headphones. We're not mastering these. We're not getting them super complex.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We know the price point and what it is and what we expect from artists. But again, back to the timing thing, like just the technology right now that allows, we can master a song with 1 click with like Lander or some of the other things. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot you can do now that you couldn't do in 2016 with some of this of just delivering higher quality recordings at lower budgets.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so now we're in 2022. I feel like time in the pandemic it feels very strange, right? I keep thinking we're in 2021, but yeah. So we're 2022. We're still in a pandemic. The industry has shifted a lot. Obviously, you brought up NFTs. Cryptocurrency has become very popular. I think that there's a lot of discussion in the music industry of the value of music, and how streaming platforms have really commodified it and made it like you need to be pushing out a lot of content. Yeah. And as we know, it's easier to make a record now than it was, in 2016. Maybe it's a little cheaper, but it still takes time. How do you see? Obviously there's obvious things where Songfinch really fits into that niche. But what are you guys working on right now, and what are some of your things that you're kind of thinking about in the future?
Yeah, so something that I've learned starting being around some new businesses is like focus is very important. If you chase shiny objects, you're going to lose focus. You're going to kind of have to do everything, and it's not going to be well. So right now we're focused really heavily on our core product, which is the $199 custom song within 7 days. But in the roadmap, there are kind of more collaborative products at a slightly higher price point, which will get the artist paid more and maybe be more involved for the consumer. But then past that, there's corporate licensing. As I mentioned, music dealers, we kind of know that space front and back. So we're kind of building one of the largest music houses right now. We have around 900 artists. We have around 650 onboarding currently. So say around 1,500 artists, and like they're all going to be making music for our brands, like customers. So why wouldn't they kind of come to us where we know the trends, we know what people are saying terms wise, and what we're getting with some of the stories can be very valuable for brands. So corporate is a very obvious answer. It's kind of a messy space. A lot of people are in there. Pricing always drives to the bottom with so many people pitching the same song. So kind of staying in the custom space for corporate is something that we're into. And then as we mentioned, NFTs, the music industry is definitely due for a change. And it's kind of like a lot of the labels and publishers are kind of sticking with a lot of the same ways that they've been working for the last 10, 20, 30 years, minus streaming. So NFTs are kind of putting a lot of the power in the artist's hands. Some of the artists will have their fan bases fund their album and turn in NFTs, and now it's collectible. So there's a lot of room there of what we can do. We're kind of educating people on this collaboration product at a low level. So if we can offer some ownership into NFTs for some of our consumers and our artists, and then utilize our network and our resources to get them on Spotify playlists, to start licensing some of them, to bring income in and generate income for not only our artists, but also some of the consumers that buy into some of these NFTs and these projects. So there's so much. It's very early. I don't think anyone fully knows the capability of what this will do to the music space, but I think it's going to be very big, and it's going to transform it in a way that it hasn't seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I talked to last week. I talked to Turo, who heads up like a music tech network in Europe. He works for Music Finland, and he said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He also said that the music industry and the tech industry don't really talk to each other, and they kind of move at different paces.
Yeah.
Whereas the music industry, like you just mentioned, is kind of working in the same model that they have been for the last 20 to 30 years, and there's not kind of a connection with some of the tech spaces and exciting things that are happening.
Right.
You mentioned focus, which I really appreciate, and I think that's something that we all struggle with, is how do we stay centered in the work that is going to give us the best return on investment,
Right.
And not be distracted by things that are shiny or exciting.
Sure.
So are there any other things that you've learned, that you could share with people that have been just helpful in building your business? Maybe things, whatever you feel.
I was told one time by one of my co-founders, and it really stuck with me. Like, building a business, you gotta be able not to get too highs at the highs and not too lows at the lows. There's going to be plenty of lows. There's going to be plenty of highs. You can celebrate them quickly, but keep things moving. So my advice that I've learned is, like, just if you believe in it and it's doing well in the world, like, keep pushing forward until you can't anymore. There's been plenty of times where, you're working 16, 18-hour days and you're like, what is this for? Take a step back, and you just got to read our reviews from our customers of how we're making husbands cry that never cried. And I lost my wife or my grandma last week, and the song really helped me feel like she was a part of me. And kind of just the power of music. You hear that often, but being able to apply it to like real life personal situations that you're going through, just kind of bring it to a different level. And then, so just kind of keep pushing forward. It's kind of cliche. I'm sure a lot of people have said that.
No,
but it's just, it's true. Like, don't give up if you really believe that this is the thing, because you're going to hear no 100 times before you hear a yes. We've talked to so many VCs, and it's a challenge to find someone that really understands and aligns with your goal, outside of just funding and money. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to change music space, but also like livelihood for musicians. Like, it's always overlooked in a lot of things that are music focused. Is just musicians are often handed like the short end of the stick, which is crazy because they make go. So just trying to kind of change that and put a little bit of more love and care and appreciation in the artist pool, especially independent artist pool, because the world wouldn't turn without music. Like, it's needed. It's needed for humanity. So,
yeah, I love all the points that you just brought up. I think especially for me personally, the pandemic has always, provided a lot of challenges. And, listening to some new music that people put out has really just helped me walk through a lot of moments, for sure. And I think that does for all of us. I also really love the concept of Songfinch in general, of it being very personal, with the music connecting with, a person that you can name and they have a story. That's such I think it's such a unique and important model to help, show how much music is worth and can be worth.
right.
I mean, and not just from a financial standpoint, but like we're talking about, like an emotional, spiritual way, right? We're moving people, and it's important. And I think, like you also mentioned, for independent musicians, it's really hard to make a living
Right.
from music, right? You have to wait tables or drive Uber or have, or teach or have three other jobs, and to be able to fully support yourself or have tools like Songfinch, that's great. So, kudos to you and your team for, building Songfinch um, and congrats on being able to grow it. I just love this story of like starting 2020 with kind of a couple of things that didn't work out, and then having a great Valentine's Day, and then the pandemic hit. I mean, it's wild,
Yeah,
man.
it's been good. It's been fun. It's been an adventure,
Right.
but it's kind of what you sign up for when you start something new.
Right. Well, great. Well, Rob, thank you so much for, taking the time to talk to us today. Everyone, this is Rob Lindquist. He's the co-founder of Songfinch, songfinch.com. Check it out, see what they're doing. He's very knowledgeable. So if you have any questions for him, for us, you can send me a message or comment. Rob, thank you again for
Sure.
taking the time to speak with us
Thanks for
today.
having
Stick around. Yeah, stick around in the green room, and we'll be back.
me. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, everyone, there you have it. Rob Lindquist of Songfinch. Such a great conversation about what they are building, the importance of music just for our own health and how it can really, help people get through tough moments or celebratory moments. The utility of music is definitely a beautiful thing. Again, my name is Daniel Crane. I'm the program director for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. This is a global industry spotlight streaming live out of 2112 Chicago, Illinois. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. I feel like that's going to be repetitive to keep saying that, but yeah, we are on social media as is everyone else in the world. So definitely come and check us out. Tune in next week, January 27th at noon. We're going to be talking with Brian Sykes from Insomniac Studios. He's building a lot of really interesting things. He's got some cool studios, but he's focused in providing education for people in the studio, right? Like, how do you make a song? Just some of the kind of operational aspects of mixing and using, different programs and software. So it'll be a fun conversation with him next week. Again, if you have any questions for us or, are interested in learning different subject matters, we're open to it. We love kind of exploring, what people are building in the creative industries, and talking with entrepreneurs on a global level about what they're doing. Wishing everyone a wonderful day, and we will talk with you soon. Take care.